Well, a question. Where is the I that listens right now? When I say I, how are you going to localize that? In the chest, in the head, in the hands? Now, where am I here behind the eyes? Or here in the breath? Or here in the pulse? No, no, you cannot leave what you were never in. I am not in the physical. I am not in the physical. Absent from the body and present with the Lord, not by death, but by recognition. The true I is spiritual, non-local, unconfined, indivisible, not parceled out in organs or nerves. No surgeon has ever yet found any me inside of a body. In him we live and move and have our being, and not the other way around. The body appears in awareness. Awareness does not appear in the body. If you will sit very quietly and notice the instinct to point a finger to your chest and say, "Here I am," you will see it is a habit, not a truth. The I that knows the chest is not in the chest. The I that senses the hand is not in the hand. The witness is not among the witness. Be still and know that I am God. In that stillness, identity loosens from its false address. I am not a tenant. I am not a landlord. I am the awareness in which all these rooms appear and dissolve. This does not make you less practical. It makes you safe, because what is not localized cannot be manipulated, and what cannot be manipulated cannot be turned into an instrument of harm. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. This is the doorway to communion that does not backfire because it does not use force. We are not here to use God. We are here to consent to God. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor. I and my Father are one. When identity is reframed in spirit, every method of pushing, pulling, willing, or projecting loses its appeal. The law of the Spirit is impersonal. It is a double-edged principle. Don't ever try to bend it. Align with it, and its edge is shelter. We shall travel that path not by occult gesture, not by the mechanics of thought, but by silence, by love, by non-interference. The arc before us is simple and sure. First, we release the belief that I is inside a body. Then we learn to be receptive without agenda. Then we move into the ethics that make receptivity safe. One God and no other alliance. Love of neighbor as self. Desireless seeking. Instrument, not operator. No manipulation in mind or hand. Obedience to the inner check. Letting sharing flow. Abiding in oneness everywhere. The end of such a road is not fireworks, it is rest. It is the quiet sufficiency of grace felt as the very life of our life. Let the journey begin with the password whispered in the heart, "Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things." Now we must speak of law, not the law of men that twist with politics, but the law that will not bend because it is not personal. When you violate 2 times 2 is 4, you do not offend a mathematician. You bring the wrath of principle upon your own calculation. It is the same with a traffic light. It will not turn green because you are late or because your purpose is noble. Run it, and the penalty is built into the act. Cosmic law is like that. It serves without favor, and it corrects without anger. It is impersonal. It is a double-edged principle. Turn it to private gain, and the edge turns on the user. Do not try to use the law, align with it, or its edge will correct you. There can be no selfish purpose in a cosmic law. None. We say God is love, and then we scheme to make love deliver our will. No. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. If I sow with the thought, let this prayer secure my advantage over another, I have already set the blade at my own root. The harvest of such sowing is not merely an outer rebuff. It is an inner dimming, a thinning of light. a loneliness of spirit. The law is not punishing me. It is revealing the nature of my seed. You see, principle is not a person to be flattered or persuaded. I am the Lord, I change not. You cannot bribe gravity with tears. You cannot flatter arithmetic with poetry. You cannot coax the law of spirit to do your private bidding. You can only consent to it, love it, obey it, and so be born by it. That is why our ethics are not sectarian rules, but universal recognition. Thou shalt have no other gods before me, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. This is not church talk. It is engineering for the soul. Build on any other foundation and the structure will list. Build here and it stands, because it rests on what is. One God means one reliance. If I look to money, influence, human personalities, even sacred practices, and call them my source, I have set other gods before me. I have moved out from under the shelter of principle and into the wind of chance. Love thy neighbor as thyself means the end of spiritual predation. When I want nothing from you, not your consent, not your praise, not your purse, there is no hook in my prayer, no bend in my thought. The law flows clean. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Therefore, what blesses you blesses me, and what I refuse to take from you refuses to be taken from me. So let the intention be clear. Never attempted control, only alignment. Never usage, only surrender. We do not direct God, we yield. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor. If correction is needed, the law will supply it without my meddling. If supply is needed, the law will reveal it without my grasping. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. There is the architecture of safety, one reliance, love without demand, surrender of will, and the calm refusal to bend impersonal law to personal ends. Let us seal it quietly. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Now we prepare for encounter, not by storming heaven, not by incantation to fetch lightnings, but by removing the body from thought so that we may be absent from the body and present with the Lord. When thou prayest, enter into thy closet, close the door on sensation, on striving, on the parade of wants. We are not going to leave a body. You were never in it. We are going to become unaware of it long enough to behold what always is. Choose a chair that does not ask for attention, a chair low enough that the feet rest flat upon the floor, the spine upright but not rigid, the head poised as if a thread lifts it lightly from the crown. There is no occult reason for it, only one of physical comfort. Let the hands rest loosely upon the thighs or beside you. Never prop the elbows. Never hold a mudra as if it were a lever. Keep the hands and arms relaxed, the jaw unhitched, the eyes gently closed. In this position, with the eyes closed, become virtually unaware of having a body. If the body calls, adjust it kindly and forget it again. We are not fighting it, we are forgetting it. Be still and know that I am God. Now, silence without agenda. Not a silence that bargains, not a silence that measures results, not a silence that watches the clock to see if God has appeared. Desireless receptivity, God for God's sake. If a word must be used to quiet the surface, let it be a single remembrance, no more than a door latch. Father, here am I. Then drop even that. Not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Wait without reaching. Wait without using imagination to build pictures. No visualization, no projection, no mental or physical manipulation. Do not try to move energy or to send thought. I never give human advice to the Spirit. I do not instruct God. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor. In this waiting, there may come a subtle recognition, almost like a click, as if the inner room has been entered and the lamp turned on of itself. Do not chase it. Do not congratulate yourself if it comes or condemn yourself if it does not. The click is not a phenomenon. It is a shift, a quiet assurance that I and my Father are one, and that all that the Father hath flows unforced right here. Sometimes it is warmth, sometimes nothing at all that sense can register, yet peace establishes itself like dew. In my conscious oneness with God is my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. The rest will unfold of its own order. Mark the boundaries again for safety. No attempts to influence a person, no reaching into another's thought, no hand laid with the intent to compel a result. Bless, do not bend. If an image arises unbidden, let it pass like a cloud. If a need parades itself, return to the kingdom within. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, not the gift. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. From this posture of agendaless receptivity, we will be shown the keys of lawful living. From willfulness we trespass. From receptivity we receive. And the law bears us as it bears the stars, steadily, silently, without strain. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. And so we sit, not to get, but to be beholding the one that is, until the one beholds through us. First, one God. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Let us name the substitutes so they may release their borrowed crowns, people, money, methods, outcomes, contacts, credentials, favorable headlines, even spiritual practices and beautiful phrases. Employer, you are not my source. Market, you are not my source. Body, you are not my source. Ritual, affirmation, technique, you are not my source. These are channels at best, never cause. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Therefore, cause is invisible, and effect appears where, when, and how the law ordained. Do you see the safety? If I believe a person is my bread, I must court or coerce that person. If I believe a method is my power, I must force the method to deliver. That is the hidden root of manipulation, fear dressed as strategy. No, when God alone is reliance, compulsion ceases. I need not flatter, frighten, or bend life to my will. I need not press a patient, a child, a debtor, a donor, a congregation, a body. Take no thought for your life, your heavenly Father knoweth. Take no thought for outcomes. Take thought only for the kingdom. Refuse bargaining prayers. They are the language of divided allegiance. Father, if you give me this, I will give you that. No, we are not merchants with God. We are sons, daughters, instruments. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Seek not the thing, seek the presence in which all rightful things appear in season. Rest and let the law add. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Let this be more than words. Let it be the release of every handle by which fear would steer your conduct. I can tell you, I have watched results change the moment reliance changed. A letter asked for a method to secure a business contract. I sent no method. I sent a reminder. There is only one source. In quiet, the fear that made the contract to God dissolved. Without pressure, the rightful door opened, and peace remained, whether the signature came or not. That is the mark. Peace that does not wobble with the figures. When reliance is single, life is no longer a field to be coerced, but a law to be consented to. You will discover that neighbors are no longer resources to tap, but fellow heirs of the one life. Then love can operate without agenda, without hooks, because nothing is needed from them, and everything is received of God. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor. And so the first key unlocks the second. With one reliance, we are free to love as ourselves. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. With one reliance, the heart loosens its grip on people, and now love can be love. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. What is this love? It is wanting nothing from another and wishing nothing upon another. It is not a bargain, not an influence, not a subtle pressure dressed as care. When you want nothing from your neighbor, you cannot misuse power over your neighbor. There is no handle for you to grab, no hook to cast. Love becomes the free recognition of the one life, beholding itself as many. Do you see how universal this is? Long before our churches, sages spoke it. As ye would that men should do to you, do ye also to them likewise. Confucius, Hillel, the poets of the East, the teachers of the West, each declared the same law in different tongues. Do not do to another what you would not have done to you. Let your measure for your brother be that by which you would be measured. It is not sect, it is principle. Owe no man anything but to love one another. There can be no selfish purpose in a cosmic law. Violate the golden rule, and you have placed the blade at your own root, because as you sow, so shall ye reap. Spiritual predation is subtle. It smiles, it kneels, it prays. Father, make him agree with me. Father, soften her to say yes. Father, move this buyer, fix that boss, tame that child. No, that is sorcery in church clothes. Or we do not pray. We radiate charm. We turn up charisma. We send energy with a will at the end of it, like a spear. No, I never give human advice to the spirit. I never push a will into another's garden. Don't ever tamper with a cosmic law. It is a double-edged sword. To bend a neighbor is to be bent by the act itself, for the law returns the form of our sowing to its sower. How then shall we love as oneness, not as exchange or conquest? My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Therefore I meet no stranger. I meet only the appearing of God, and I stand still. Bless, do not bend. Let the prayer be without hooks. Father, reveal thyself as this one's freedom, period. We do not add in the way I prefer, at the time I choose, to the outcome I want. We let God be the actor and we the instrument. Not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. You can test this. Our mother wrote, I have prayed for my son to take the path I see for him. I asked her to stop. To love him as herself meant to want nothing from him and to wish nothing upon him, only to witness God where he is. She sat in silence 3 mornings, saying only, Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things, and then dropping even that. The pushing ceased. Peace entered the house before any decision did. Weeks later, the boy changed course of his own light. Whether or not he fulfilled her plan was no longer the axis. Presence was. Love like this clears the field. When there is no agenda toward a neighbor, receptivity becomes pure. Otherwise, silence is a hunt, and even our quiet breath smells of pursuit. Let love end the hunt. Then in the inner room, the click comes cleanly, because nothing in you is reaching past God to get to man. In oneness we are safe. In oneness we are supplied. In oneness we cannot pray and cannot be prayed upon. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. And because it is, I want nothing from you, and I wish nothing upon you, but that God be God in us. Now the third key, desireless seeking. God for God's sake, not God for safety, not God for health, not God for success, not God for any visible token God. If I come with a shopping list, I have come as a merchant. If I come with a single consent, I have come as a son. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. Then what shall I ask? Only this, reveal thyself. Let me know thee. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Seek the giver, and the gifts arrange themselves as effect to cause. Emptiness invites the inflow, fullness of self blocks it. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Poor in spirit, uncluttered, unopinionated, unbargaining, unafraid to be still, without outcomes pre-written. He must increase, but I must decrease. When self is full of plans, full of pictures, full of rehearsed outcomes, there is no room for the presence to disclose itself. A brimming cup cannot be filled, a clenched hand cannot receive, loosen, empty, yield. How to practice? Enter your inner room as we have learned, comfortable, unforced, almost unaware of having a body. Close the door on requests. If the mind insists on a word, let it be the soft password. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Whisper it once or twice, and then let even that sink beneath the silence. No lists, no timelines, no visualization. Be still and know that I am God. Wait without reaching. Wait without using imagination to decorate the altar. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Sometimes the click comes a quiet, almost imperceptible settling. Sometimes there is only hush. Either way, the act is the same, consent. Results follow presence, as light follows the switch. You do not push illumination through a bulb. You establish contact with the source, and light appears of itself. It is the same with fruit on the branch. The life of the vine provides. The branch does not manufacture. I am the vine, ye are the branches. Take no thought for the fig or the flower. Take thought only for the root. A man wrote in distress over his accounts. He sat to pray and found himself drafting solutions in his head. He stopped. Father, reveal thyself. That was all. Peace came first. Figures came later. A forgotten conversation resurfaced, a door reopened, an error corrected itself. The gift followed the giver. He did not manage the river, he entered it. Desirelessness is not passivity, it is purity. When there is no grasping, the flow is clean, and from that flow service is born. Out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water, not from ambition, not from pity that pushes, but from presence that overflows. Then you do not set out to help. You find yourself being used. Words are given. Silence is given. A gentle no is given. A timely yes is given. God is the actor. I am merely the instrument. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea, and in that oneness supply to give, wisdom to wait, and love to serve, move without strain. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. And because it is, I seek nothing but thee, and everything rightful arrives in season. Now the fourth key, instrument, not operator. Hear the Master, I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Let that be the posture of the heart. God acts. I consent and bear witness, not suggesting, not steering, not fastening outcomes like reins to the mind. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Therefore, the doing belongs to the one life. I do not add human machinery to divine motion. It is God which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. Then my part is not execution, it is availability. Renounce the urge to give the Spirit human advice. We are so ready to help God be God. Father, fix this. Father, move that. No, be still and know. Enter the inner room as we have learned, empty of method and agenda, and rest the mind in a single willingness. Here am I. Use me or keep me silent. If a word must be spoken, it will be given. If a silence must be held, it will be given. If a deed is required, the energy and timing will be within it. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. The instrument does not select the score. It does not conduct the orchestra. It does not applaud itself when the music comes. It vibrates when touched. It rests when not. A testimony to anchor this. A call came late one winter night. A child was failing, breath shallow, fever high. The plea was, do something. I would not hurry God. I would not project thought. I did not send power. I sat. Father, reveal thyself as life. That was all. The room grew very quiet. No pictures were made. No orders were issued. Then the click subtle, like a key turning in a well-oiled lock. Peace took the front place. I slept. In the morning a note waited. We do not know why, but near midnight the fever broke. I know only this. I did not act. God acted. And because I did not act, I am not tempted to boast in the result or to panic over the next call. He that glorieth, let him glory in the Lord. Instrumentality removes pressure, pride, and fear. If I am the doer, the world's weights are on my shoulders. If God is the doer, I rest under everlasting arms. If I am the operator, I must perform, produce, persuade. If I am the instrument, I must only be true, clean strings, no hooks in the heart, no agenda in the hand. Then when the touch comes, the tone is pure. When the touch does not come, there is no self-reproach. My yoke is easy and my burden is light, because the yoke is consent, not control. And now the bridge, because being an instrument sets holy boundaries. If God is the actor, I do not intrude upon another's field. I do not push with mind or hand. I do not offer human advice as if I were foreman to the Spirit. I await the inner check that says, speak or be silent, go or stay. Often guidance is restraint, and the sacred no protects both giver and receiver. Bless, do not bend. Witness, do not will. This surrender of self-will is the seedbed of safety for all who cross our path. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. In that grace, interference ceases, for will has yielded, and God is God in us. This key stands guard at the gate. No mental or physical manipulation. Forbid suggestion. Forbid projection. Forbid sending energy. Forbid using touch as leverage. No, no. These are the tools of personal will disguised as help. I have studiously avoided mental and physical contacts because they awaken suggestion, and suggestion is not spirit. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. If ever you feel that inward itch to make something happen, by thought, by stare, by tone, by hand, stand still. Bless, do not bend. Presence heals without your push. Understand the difference. Blessing is beholding. Manipulation is managing. Blessing says, Father, reveal thyself here. It stops there. Manipulation says, become this, do that, change now, in the manner and timing I prefer. Blessing is light. It shines and leaves. Manipulation is a hand on the scale. It thrusts. The law is impersonal. It does not soften for good intentions. Run a red light in an ambulance of personal desire, still a red light. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Sow influence and you reap entanglement. Sow beholding and you reap peace. But what of laying on of hands? What of sending comfort across the miles? Hear this. The danger is not the hand. It is the intent behind it. If a hand is used as a lever to move another, it is sorcery. If a thought is packed with will and launched, it is intrusion, even if it smiles. Lay hands suddenly on no man is wisdom not taboo, but guardrail. If ever there is to be touch, let it be given, not applied. Let it be sacrament, not strategy. And most often, do not touch at all. Stay absent from the body and present with the Lord. Presence requires no conduit. It is the vine life, not the branch's pressure, that bears fruit. I am the vine, ye are the branches. Even benevolent control violates law because it assumes two minds, one wise, one to be altered, and it appoints you as operator. No, I can of mine own self do nothing. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Therefore, I do not enter another's garden with my tools. I stand at the gate and look to the one life within all. If there is action, the Father within doeth the works. Practice the safe alternative. Enter the inner room. Remove the body from thought. Say quietly, if you must say it all, Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Then wait until peace comes like a settling of leaves after wind. The click may come, it may not. If peace establishes itself, do nothing unless clearly led. If nothing is given, nothing is required. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. To move without that peace is to move in might and power. To rest until it rises is to be carried. You will learn to feel the thin line between witnessing and willing. It is as distinct as the difference between open hands and clenched fists. When you catch the fist forming, stop, drop it. Return to beholding. Bless, do not bend. Presence will reveal itself without your push. And in that revelation, the right word, the silence, the visit, or the refusal will be given in season. This is our bridge to guidance. Restraint first, the sacred no next. Guidance is born of peace, and peace is born of non-interference. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. And in that grace, we neither intrude nor delay. We wait until the inner yes or the inner no speaks with the authority that no hand and no thought can counterfeit. Key 6 is the schooling of the ear within. Obey the inner check and honor the sacred no. Let your yea be yea and your nay, nay. Guidance, more often than not, is restraint. The Spirit's first gift is not motion but measure. He maketh me to lie down before he leadeth me beside still waters. He that believeth shall not make haste. Learn this calm, this holy hesitation, and you will be safe in a universe ruled by impersonal law. I can of mine own self do nothing. Therefore I wait until the Father within bears witness. Train your attention. The quiet yes does not flatter, it does not hurry, it comes as an ease, a widening, a peace that asks for no applause. The protective no is firm but unangry. It is like a gentle hand laid across the heart that says, not now, not this way, not you. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts, let it be umpire. If you must ask 5 times whether it is right, it is not right now. If you feel the itch to push, the need to explain, to convince, to gather allies for your plan, you have already left the sanctuary of guidance. Return. Be still and know that I am God. Sometimes the click will come as a green light. Sometimes only hush and an absence of push. Hush is guidance. Absence of push is guidance. Not yet is guidance, not failure. Set guardrails because the mind is subtle. If it flatters the ego, pause. If the picture places you at the center, shining, pause. If it hurries you, now or never, pause. The spirit is never late and never frantic. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. If the step would require you to manipulate, to hint, to extract, to bend another stop, if it appoints you operator rather than instrument, stop. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Therefore, I do not invade the field of another to get my way. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor. Restraint keeps the edge of law from turning on the user. The principle is impersonal. A yellow light does not change because your purpose is noble. Red means stop. A sacred no means wait. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Sow haste and you reap entanglement. Sow ego and you reap exposure. Sow restraint and you reap protection for yourself and for your neighbor. Bless, do not bend. Stand at the gate and look to the one life within all. If there is action, the Father within doeth the works. A letter came from a woman pressed to accept a public platform. The invitation promised influence and praise. Inside there was hurry and a sweetness that tasted of self. She waited. 3 times the mind returned to explain why yes. 3 times the heart answered no. Weeks later, without striving, another door opened, smaller, humbler, clean. Words were given, not manufactured. Help flowed without hooks. There was peace before, during, after. That is the seal. The law bore her as the river bears a leaf, not as a hand drags a stone. And here is the bridge to outflow. When the sacred no is honored, the yes that follows is generous, because it is God's yes, not ours. Freely ye have received, freely give. Out of stillness comes a sharing that is not compulsion but overflow. What you let flow through you cannot be lost to you. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. In that grace we refuse the hurried, the flattering, the manipulative, and then, in season, the living water moves of itself. Key 7, let the sharing flow. Supply is not a pile gathered by cunning hands. Supply is the nature of presence expressing. Freely ye have received, freely give. When the sacred no has cleared the channel of self-will, the river knows what to do. It moves. Give, and it shall be given unto you, not as barter, not as bait, but as law. What you let flow through, you cannot be lost to you, because it was never your private store. It was the one life pressing out as you. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Therefore, outflow is safety. Inflow is inevitable because cause is spiritual and effect cannot fail the law that begets it. This reaches into our work, our trade, our contracts. Ethical commerce is prayer, with ledgers open to the light. A false balance is abomination to the Lord. But a just weight is his delight. Let your price be fair and your word be clean. No hidden hooks, no bait, no scarcity, tick-tocks, no flattery sweetened with pressure. Let your yea be yea and your nay, nay. If you hire, pay promptly. If you sell, represent truly. If you negotiate, speak plainly. The market is a channel, not God. Therefore, you need not bend a neighbor's mind to close a sale. Bless, do not bend. Stand at the gate of your own heart, and let grace do its arithmetic. As you sow, so shall ye reap. Is not threat, but architecture. Sow transparency, and you reap trust. Sow pressure, and you reap returns with strings. I have watched businesses steady the moment they ceased grasping. A letter came from a craftsman who stopped promising more than his tools could honor. He trimmed the glitter, told the truth, and set a fair time. He feared loss. Instead, right customers gathered as birds to a clear branch. Fewer emergencies, cleaner books, quiet joy, law, impersonal, kept faith with itself. And here, forgiveness. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. 70 times 7 for your neighbor and for yourself. Release the moral IOUs you keep in a secret drawer. Cancel the blame that would make your brother pay interest forever. When the ledger of resentment is cleared, the channel unclogs and the river resumes. A man wrote me of a bad debt that soured his morning. He forgave it in silence. No parade, no letter of righteousness, only, Father, reveal thyself as my sufficiency. Within a month, work he had not sought found him through an old acquaintance who had been kept away by the scent of grievance. When I want nothing you have, and you want nothing I have, there is no possibility of a war. And when there is no war, associations right themselves like iron filings to a magnet. Non-competition is not laziness, it is faith. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I do not compete for what is mine by grace. I do not guard against your gain as if it were my loss. In oneness, your good and my good are not two goods. Give way, and room is made. Share light, and light increases. You will find that the clean current of outgoing grace attracts companions of its kind, traders who do not trick, partners without hooks, neighbors who bless and leave free. It is the law of the vine through the branches. Life flows, fruit appears. No pushing, no prying. Let the practice be simple. Each morning, open the hands inwardly. Whom shall I bless today without hook or handle? Then wait. If a coin is to go, let it go. If a word is to be spoken, speak it clean. If silence is the gift, leave silence as a rat present on the threshold. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Keep that password near. Outflow keeps you light. It trains the heart to remain where safety is in the present. And this is our bridge. For the river that gives is the river that abides. Abide, and the flow continues. Abide and supply is not an act, but a nature revealed. Abide in me, and I in you. In that abiding, outgoing grace is as effortless as breath, and nothing is lost that God is giving through you. Key 8, abide in oneness everywhere. Not sometimes, not in sacred rooms only, not when candles are lit and hymns are soft, everywhere. Whither shall I go from thy spirit, or whither shall I flee from thy presence? If I take the wings of the morning, even there shall thy hand lead me. Omnipresence is not poetry, it is law. I am not in the physical, absent from the body, present with the Lord. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Therefore, distance cannot separate, place cannot imprison, and circumstance cannot delay the appearing of what already is. Lo, I am with you always. In him we live and move and have our being. Oneness is the fact. Abiding is our consent to let the fact govern. Abiding is simple. It is not a squeeze of concentration, not a chiseling of thought. It is quiet breath, let it come, let it go. It is gentle awareness, here I am, here God is, one life. It is effortless remembrance, thy grace is my sufficiency in all things, whispered once, perhaps twice, and then allowed to sink beneath words. You can do this in a queue, in a meeting, over a sink of dishes, walking a hospital corridor. Remove the body from thought, not by despising it, but by ceasing to localize yourself in it. Be still and know that I am God. Abide in me and I in you. Not reaching, not decorating the silence with pictures, just consenting to the presence that already is present. As you abide, Outcomes happen as byproducts, never as targets. Fruit appears on a branch that remains in the vine. The branch does not set fruit by will. Take no thought for the morrow, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Light follows the making of contact. You do not push illumination through a bulb. In like manner, when abiding is primary, adjustment, provision, guidance, healing, reconciliation appear without strain, and because they are added, they do not claim you as their manager. A simple testimony, that it may be plain. A note reached me from a woman across the sea who sat through a night beside her father's bed. She wrote, at 2 a.m, a quiet fell in the room, and my own fear was taken from me as if it had never existed. At that hour, I was in my chair, not sending, not projecting, not commanding only, Father, reveal thyself as peace, and then silence. The click came like a soft settling, and I slept. We did not cross miles. There are no miles in the one. I did not act. God acted. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor. Presence recognized one place is presence realized every place, because presence is indivisible. Carry this everywhere. When hurry rises, when breath shortens, when the mind begins to calculate results, you are leaving abiding for technique. Stop. 10 seconds will do. Be still. Return to the password. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Acknowledge the facts. One God. Love thy neighbor. Bless. Do not bend. Ask for nothing. Picture nothing. Push nothing. Wait for peace to reestablish itself even lightly. If the click comes, move if you are moved. If it does not, do not move. The law is impersonal and immediate. The moment you realign, it bears you up. So we end the keys with rest. Abide and the work is safe. Abide and the work is effective. Abide and the next step will be shown without strain. When technique backfires, it does not do so because God has turned away. It is because we have leaned away from oneness into method. The red flags are plain when you are willing to see them. Urgency to fix others. Do something now. Make it change. Bend that will. Hurry that healing. Fascination with phenomena, chasing lights behind the eyes, collecting stories of visions, measuring goose flesh as if it were grace, turning the click into a trophy to be hunted. Transactional prayer. If I sit this long, say this many words, give this much, then thou must do thus and so. No, no. An evil and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign. And the Master answered with silence enough to expose the craving. Rejoice not that the spirits are subject unto you, but rather rejoice, because your names are written in heaven. Rejoice in God, not in effects. Seek the giver, not the gifts. Understand the boomerang. Law is impersonal. As you sow, so shall ye reap. If you sow control by thought, by word, by pressure, you reap bondage to results. The mind that pushes must keep pushing. The hand that bends must keep holding. The heart that bargains cannot rest. You violate 2 times 2, and the mathematics corrects you every time. It is not anger, it is principle. Build a house out of plumb, and gravity will take it down to save the street. It is the same with cosmic law. When you use the principle to favor your person, the edge turns and corrects the user. That correction comes as anxiety, as entanglements, as outcomes that own you. This is mercy, not malice, for it herds you back to safety. What is the remedy? Stop, right where you are. Do not speak another prayer of request. Do not frame another picture. Do not send another thought. Be still and know that I am God. Confess and turn repentance is not groveling. It is metanoia, the mind turning to its source. Father, forgive my attempt to use thy law. I release all persons and outcomes to thee. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Then return to key 1 and key 3. One God, no other alliance. Desireless, seeking God for God's sake. Whisper the password once if needed. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Then hush. If the click comes, give thanks. If it does not, give thanks. Integrity is already upheld. The river bears you the instant you re-enter it. Where you have interfered, make amends. If you have used counsel as a lever, go and restore freedom. I spoke beyond my light. You owe me nothing. Choose as you are led. If a sale was closed by pressure, unhook it. If a favor carried a string, cut it. Loose the bands of wickedness. Let the oppressed go free. Render therefore to all their dues, apologies, refunds, unclassed expectations. Do not dramatize. Do not defend. Quietly restore what you took, another's right to be inwardly led. Bless, do not bend. In so doing, you remove the hooks from your own heart, and the law, impersonal, supports you at once. Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. You have as much right to forgive yourself 70 times 7 as to forgive your neighbor. Only be honest and turn. Guard henceforth against the old lures. If hurry returns, stop. If fascination with signs beckons, remember, signs follow them that believe. Believers do not follow signs. If prayer starts to bargain, drop the ledger and take your place as branch in the vine. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor, absent from the body, present with the Lord. I rest in the fact that my conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. The moment you hold technique and realign with this truth, the law, like mathematics set aright, becomes your support. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things, and because it is, the work is safe again. Now let us set a rule of life simple as a bell, steady as sunrise. Small hinges swing, great doors. In an impersonal law, habit is your ally. It turns your feet toward oneness before the mind can wander back to managing. 3 by 3 will keep you. 3 minutes in the morning, 3 breaths at midday, 3 minutes in the evening, then once each week, an hour that belongs to God alone. These small fidelities will keep the impulse to manipulate at bay because they place you again and again where safety is absent from the body, present with the Lord. Morning, before words crowd the threshold, sit and remove the body from thought. No pictures, no plans. Whisper once, perhaps twice, thy grace is my sufficiency in all things, and then hush. Let the breath be easy. If love rises, turn it gently outward. Bless your neighbor inwardly, not to bend them, only to behold the one life as their life. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Say within, Father, reveal thyself as good in this one also. Then stop. The click may come, it may not. Either way, you have sown to spirit at the gate of the day. Give us this day our daily bread is not a plea for loaves, but a trust in presence for this hour. Midday. Wherever you stand, take 3 conscious breaths. On the first, release outcomes, drop them like stones into a deep lake. On the second, release roles, expert, fixer, persuader. On the third, offer only availability. Here am I. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor. Use me or keep me silent, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. If there was hurry, you will feel it draining. If there was pressure, it loosens its grip. Evening, 3 minutes of review and forgiveness. Ask quietly, where today did I bless and where did I bend? Where did peace guide and where did push intrude? confess without drama. Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. Forgive your neighbor 70 times 7 and include yourself in that mercy. If amends are shown, note them and keep them simple. Loose the bands of wickedness in thought tonight, and action will be given in the morning light. Once a week, keep a Sabbath hour. No requests, no study, just presence. Sit as in the morning, unhurried, and be still. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. Let the hour belong to God without bargain or scoreboard. If the click comes, give thanks. If not, give thanks. This hour is your tithe of time to the law that keeps you. Keep also a small journal for discernment, a single page divided in spirit into 2 columns, guidance and will. Under guidance, note impulses that came with peace, restraint, and the absence of hurry. Under will, note the itches to push, to explain, to decorate outcomes. Do not accuse, observe. Over weeks, a pattern appears as surely as 2 times 2 reveals 4. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts. You will learn your own signs of the sacred no and the clean yes. This is the rule. Brief, faithful, desireless. As you sow, so shall ye reap. Sow silence, reap safety, bless, do not bend. Abide through the day in little ways, and the law, impersonal and tender, carries you. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. In that grace, the work is simple again. Beloved, let us gather the whole way into a single utterance of truth. I am not in the physical, absent from the body, present with the Lord. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Therefore, in my oneness with God, I find safety. In my oneness with God, I find supply. In my oneness with God, I find wisdom. In my oneness with God, I find peace. In my oneness with God, I find joy. I and my Father are one. And because I am one, nothing can be added to me and nothing can be taken from me. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. In this oneness, there is no outside and no stranger. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with neighbor and with nation, with the worker at dawn and the watcher at midnight, with the child who laughs and the elder who remembers. It constitutes my oneness with idea and activity, with the bread on the table and the light for the next step. For in him we live and move and have our being. When I abide here, the river bears me, and what is mine by grace appears without push. When I abide here, I am merely the instrument. God is the actor. Let the final cautions fall away now. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Perfect love casteth out fear. Lay down the last ledger of results, the final itch to explain, the urge to justify your faith to the unready. Return to the simple availability that says, here am I. Do with me as thou wilt, or keep me silent. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. The law is impersonal and tender. The moment you consent, it keeps you. Go, therefore, and live the 8 keys quietly. Do not argue. Do not display. Do not sound a trumpet before you. When thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and there consent to one God, desireless, loving your neighbor as yourself, refusing to manipulate, honoring the sacred no, letting sharing flow, abiding without strain. Let your yea be yea, your nay, nay. Let your light so shine before men, not as glare, but as a steady lamp that guides the weary home. And now, gratitude. Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me, and I knew that thou hearest me always. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things today tonight, and in the days to come. In my oneness with God, I find completeness. In my oneness with God, I find rest. The path and the fulfillment are one because thou art one. Let us be still together. Be still and know that I am God. A breath, a pause, a simple amen rising without effort from the heart that is already whole. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. And so it is. And I thank you.